why you don't need to take protein powder. I get asked this question a lot. Should I take a protein powder supplement? Will it help me recover? Will it help my performance? So we're going to have a little look into it today. And I really emphasize the word need. I think the short answer to it is no, you don't need to take protein powder, but it can actually be a really effective tool when it comes to trying to increase our protein intake. Now, our protein intake is super critical to hard training athletes. It's actually pretty critical to most people. Anyone who wants to get into better shape, feel better, have more energy, has a lot of benefits. But as an athlete, you obviously want to have all those things plus some recovery and potentially repair and restoration from your hard training as well. So it is super important. Now, protein kind of stores as a plasma pool in the body and just travels around the body, kind of donating its specific amino acids. So an amino acid is just a part of the chain that creates a whole protein. And there's many different amino acids. I think there's 20 or something amino acids. There's 9 essential, which is the ones that we normally focus on. The 9 essential are essential because we need them from our diet. We need to ingest them to get them. The others, I think the other 11, we can actually produce and create through our own metabolism. So, protein is really important for restoration and growth, we know that, but it also helps create a lot of molecules like enzymes, neurotransmitters, hormones, and things of this kind. So it actually becomes really critical to make sure that you're actually getting enough protein in your diet, because it can help you become a more whole person. And if you don't have enough protein in your diet, there are some consequences to it. It can also help us reduce a little bit of body fat through the release of glucagon, which actually gets released when blood sugar levels are low. Helps us free up some glycogen into glucose in the bloodstream. Can also help free fatty acids be liberated from body fat or adipose tissue. So most hard training athletes need about 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So for example, if you're a 75 kilo athlete, you're going to need at least about 175 grams of protein. Now, you can eat less, don't get me wrong. I think that number is actually close to probably 1.6 to 1.9 just for general health and day-to-day activities. However, there's more than enough research that shows that having a higher protein diet has many benefits, some of which I've already discussed. So why would you take a protein powder supplement? Well, really the best answer for this is it just comes down to convenience. So when we think about a lot of whole food protein sources, which is ideally where we want to get the majority of our protein from, you're thinking like chicken, turkey, beef, pork, fish, eggs, yogurt, cottage cheese, tofu, lentils, etc., etc. There's a nice long list. So ideally, as an athlete, you want to get most of your protein from these sources. However, if you noticed, most of those sources need to be cooked. This is where protein powder can come in because it is nice and simple and convenient. You can carry it with you, you can have it on you, you can put it in a shaking container. All you need to do is add a liquid, shake it up, and bang, there you go. I think you got to look at the word supplement. So what does supplement actually mean? Okay, so it's a thing added to something else in order to complete or enhance it. So when we think about that from a nutritional perspective, ideally we're trying to get adequate protein intake every single day. Now 165 grams, even for a light athlete, is quite a fair bit of protein. If you break that down into 3 meals, you know, that's close to, what's the math on that? It's close to 55 to 60 grams of protein per meal, which is really big. Like, that's a very large steak. That's a whole chicken breast. That's like 10 eggs almost. So it can be quite challenging to get to that whole protein mark. This is where protein powders can come in really handy because it just gives you a little bump, gives you a little top up. Now, I wouldn't just live off protein powders, and I wouldn't make it your only protein source, but it can definitely be a really good, quick and easy, convenient option to try and hit your daily targets. Now, why wouldn't you take protein powder? Well, because some powders are not all quite there. Some have some extra stuff that aren't always labelled. So it's our suggestion that you, before you take a protein powder, is actually seek help. Find a professional, either a strength and conditioning coach, a nutritionist, naturopath, or sports doctor, and ask for their advice. They'll likely try and encourage you to get as much protein from whole food sources as we would as well. But every now and again, it is quite helpful to have a protein powder. And there are products out there that you can use that are relatively safe. You can go on the WADA website, so the World Anti-Doping Association, and type in certain products, and they'll give you kind of like the tick or the cross. So we suggest that that's with any supplementation, that you seek a professional, check the WADA website. Now, if we were to go and potentially go and buy a protein powder, our suggestions would either be BSC, which is a homegrown Australian product, or bulk nutrients. Both of these have been tested quite regularly and have come up clean multiple times, and they're really good, simple sources of protein. Now, when it comes down to choosing a powder, this is where it gets really tricky. You know, like I said, really the two brands, the BSC and the bulk nutrients, we kind of refine it down to three things. It's just got to have minimal ingredients, so it really shouldn't have any more than 5 ingredients on the label. All we're after is protein. We don't need anything else. We just need the protein powder. Check the reviews. You know, if it's had a lot of 5-star reviews, that means it's got like pretty good taste and mixability, etc., which are all important, because at the end of the day, you want to choose a product that you're going to consume on a regular basis, and you don't want to have to force it down. If anything, you want to enjoy it and use it. And also a relatively low cost. You really probably don't want to be spending any more than $70 per kilo. That's a rip-off if you're going more than that. They've added other things that just are unnecessary. You've got to think, like, the supplement industry isn't regulated that well, and they can sell all kinds of different things, and it's to make money at the end of the day. So when you're choosing one, just break it down nice and simple. Try it out for a month, you know, go through like that, maybe 500 gram or kilo serving. Try it for the month. If it makes you feel good and you found it easy to consume and you were happy to consume it on a regular basis, it's a winner. Just keep going with that one. There's no better or worse. Most protein powders are much of a muchness. If it's not, get rid of that one, try another one, and you can kind of do a bit of a self-experiment. Some gym bros out there, they'll try and tell you that protein powder is the superior source of protein when it comes to trying to get enough protein in, and it's better than, say, like your beefs and your chickens and your whole food sources. Look, superior isn't really the correct term. There's definitely some research that suggests, well, actually there's a lot of research that suggests that protein supplementation, especially after a heavy resistance training exercise, can be very beneficial from a protein muscle synthesis point of view, so muscle growth point of view, and we back that in certainly. But there's also pretty strong evidence as well to suggest that at the end of the day, it probably comes down more to total protein consumption, so trying to hit that total daily intake, as opposed to straight after the workout or from a protein powder. If you're hitting your total daily intake and you're getting it all through whole foods, bang, that's best case right there. If you need some help, then that's where the protein powder comes in. It's a supplement. It's supplementing something that you're either not already getting or you're adding to. Hopefully that was helpful. If you've got any questions, please hit us up. We're here to help. Another good resource is Precision Nutrition. They have great articles on everything about protein and everything about protein powders. Cheers.